The Chicago Bears are finally starting to turn heads in the NFL, and not just among their own fan base. After a string of solid performances, they've climbed from a middling team to one that's genuinely making noise in the power rankings. Sitting now at the 13th spot after being ranked 16th just a week earlier, the Bears are riding a wave of momentum that has fans and analysts alike paying closer attention. 4 straight wins, regardless of the level of competition, are 4 wins. And in this league, that matters. And while Caleb Williams just had his worst game of the season, there's no denying the growth he's shown overall. Sure, there's still those fans who fixate on the negatives and act like they got it all figured out. But the truth is, Williams has made significant strides. This week, though, is a real test. Going up against a dangerous Ravens squad, with Lamar Jackson at the helm, is no joke. Baltimore is the kind of team you never overlook, no matter what their record says. The Bears don't have the luxury of taking anyone lightly. Not this year. Every game needs to be approached like it's the Super Bowl. That's the level of focus required if this team wants to keep climbing. What's different about this version of the Bears is how they're winning. This isn't a team lucking into wins or relying on fluke plays. They're grinding games out. There's grit in this squad. You can feel the confidence growing, not just among the fans, but in the locker room. Players who were struggling early on, like Darnell Wright and Tariq Stevenson, are showing real improvement. Wright is holding his ground better. Stevenson, despite missing some time, has strung together multiple quality performances. It's the kind of individual growth that reflects a shift in the team's culture. Now, let's talk about something no one really expected. The Bears lead the entire NFL in big plays per game. That's right. Through 7 weeks, they've pulled off 48 big plays, more than anyone else, and they've done that with 1 fewer game than a lot of teams. On average, they're hitting 8 big plays a game. For comparison, the Rams, who sit just behind them in this category, average just over 7. That's a legitimate edge. It's even more wild when you break it down. 27 of those big plays have come on the ground, runs of 10 yards or more, despite the Bears' rushing attack being inconsistent for most of the year. The other 21 have come through the air with passes of 20 or more yards. And here's the thing. As impressive as those numbers are, they're still leaving points on the table. The Bears are missing too many of the gimme plays, the easy completions, the basic conversions. You can look at that from 2 angles. If you're pessimistic, you'll say it's not sustainable. But if you're optimistic, you'll argue that if they clean up those easy misses, this offense could be scary good. Ben Johnson deserves credit here. His influence on this offense is starting to show in the stat sheets. The explosive plays are there. The creativity is there. And you get the sense that this team is still only scratching the surface. If they find consistency in their run game and manage to tie it together with a more balanced passing attack, they can start hitting another level entirely. Johnson himself has said it, good teams don't keep hurting themselves with penalties and missed assignments. And that's something he's been vocal about since rookie minicamp. It's been a problem, but at least it's a problem being acknowledged by the people who can do something about it. That's a good sign. Statistically, the Bears are quietly climbing. They're 10th in points per game. They've cracked the top half of the league in both passing and rushing. 14th in the air, 8th on the ground. That's not elite, but it's solid, especially for a team that started off the season with more questions than answers. They're averaging over 129 rushing yards per game now. They've found a groove over the last 2 weeks, and if that trend continues, this offense will be dangerous. Total offense, 12th in the NFL. 3rd down conversions, they're converting 40% of the time, good enough for 14th. The red zone is still an issue. They're only scoring touchdowns on 50% of their trips there, which ranks near the bottom. That's an area that needs immediate attention. If they can boost that number closer to 70%, this offense becomes much more efficient, and the game script changes drastically. But one of the most shocking stats? The Bears are number 1 in the NFL in sacks allowed. That's right. For a team that has had serious protection issues over the last few years, that's a huge turnaround. Caleb Williams ranks 21st in sacks taken among quarterbacks, and that list includes backups and rotational guys. That shows that the line is holding up, and the coaching staff deserves credit for adjusting protections and schemes to better fit their personnel. And look, there's still a lot of season left to play. But if you're being honest, it's hard not to see the progress. The Bears are playing cleaner football. They're 6th in turnovers given away, with only 5 all season. That's a huge improvement from years past. Protecting the football is how you stay competitive, especially when your defense is still a work in progress. Speaking of a defense, it's lagging behind, no doubt. The Bears are 25th in points allowed and 28th against the run. They're middle of the pack against the pass and in total yards allowed. But they're making plays when it matters. They're allowing just 30% on third down conversions, which is among the best in the league. They lead the league in takeaways, which is the kind of stat that can swing games. Still, they're 24th in sacks and 25th in total defense, so the numbers don't lie. They have work to do. But again, the feel around this team is different. The energy is shifting, and that's been echoed by players like Jaquan Brisker. When your players talk openly about how the locker room has changed, how the energy is better, how the communication is stronger, that matters. That's how you build a real culture. That's what winning organizations have. Brisker talked about how the team feels more connected this year. They're meeting without coaches. They're communicating more on and off the field. They're bonding in a way that wasn't happening before. He's been through the previous regime, and now he's living this new era with Ben Johnson. That perspective is valuable, and you can't ignore it when players feel empowered and invested in what's being built. You can really feel it now. The Bears aren't just surviving, they're starting to lay down a foundation. And a lot of that comes down to Ben Johnson and what he's brought into the building. This is a head coach who's doing more than just calling plays. He's creating standards, and the locker room is responding. From rookies to vets, players are buying in. The shift in tone, the effort, the accountability, it's all being driven by this coaching staff. That doesn't mean the job is done, not even close. But you can tell something real is happening. And when players like Brisker talk about how the team is meeting on their own outside of scheduled practices, just to tighten things up, that's when you know a group is serious. Now, the numbers don't tell the full story, but they help paint the picture. After starting the season with 2 straight losses, the Bears have rattled off 4 wins in 6 games. That's not by accident. They're finding their rhythm. The offense is more balanced. The play calling has more identity. And the defense, while still inconsistent, is flashing in the right spots. They're not perfect, far from it, but they're no longer a team that's easy to dismiss. They're fighting. They're making life difficult for opponents. And that alone is a huge step forward. Take a look at how they're spreading the ball around on offense. The wide receiver group is stepping up, the tight end are doing their job in the blocking game, and the running backs are finally finding daylight. What we've seen in the last 2 weeks on the ground is exactly what this offense needs, a stable foundation that opens up play action and keeps defenses honest. That's where Caleb Williams can be dangerous. He's still growing, still learning, but he's got the tools. And when the run game is clicking, he's got more room to make those big plays that we've seen glimpses of. Even with a few key players still dealing with injuries, the team isn't panicking. That says a lot about the mindset in the locker room. In past years, you'd lose 1 or 2 starters and the whole thing would unravel. Now, there's more depth, more resilience. That's a credit to the front office and the coaching staff. They've put together a group of guys who can step up when needed. And as players start returning, guys like Austin Booker, for example, this defense could finally start to get the reinforcement it needs. Booker's situation is worth watching. The Bears opened his return to practice window, and while he hasn't been activated yet, all signs point to that move happening soon. That's a big potential addition, especially with what he showed in the preseason. His pass rush moves are refined for a young player. If he can translate that to the regular season, the Bears suddenly get a lot more dangerous off the edge. And let's be real, this defense could use a jolt. Getting back a guy like Booker, who's hungry and ready to prove something, might be exactly what they need heading into the second half of the season. The Bears already made room on the roster by releasing a depth player who had some solid production. That move alone suggests something is in the works. And considering how much effort the coaching staff is putting into building this young core, giving Booker real snaps makes sense. He's got fresh legs, he's got something to prove, and there are still 12 games left to make an impact. Meanwhile, other pieces on the defense are quietly improving. TJ Edwards is starting to settle in. Kyler Gordon looked sharper in his second game back from injury. Jalen Johnson's return would be massive for the secondary, especially with Tariq Stevenson now dealing with a shoulder issue. This group hasn't been at full strength yet, and still, they've found ways to generate turnovers and limit damage on key downs. That's not nothing. That's a defense that's bending but still finding ways to make winning plays. Of course, there's still talk about whether the Bears should make a move before the trade deadline. And with Stevenson banged up, one name that's surfaced recently is Tariq Woolen from the Seahawks. Standing at 6'4", 210 pounds, and just 26 years old, he fits the profile. He's long, athletic, a ball hawk in the secondary. He's shown flashes of high-end potential, even earning a Pro Bowl nod as a rookie with 6 interceptions. And now, rumors are swirling that he could be available. It's not that cornerback is the biggest need for the Bears right now, but if the price is right and the front office believes this team can push for a wildcard spot, then a player like Woolen makes sense. His current contract isn't going to break the bank. He's on a $5.3 million cap hit, and he becomes an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. That gives the Bears flexibility to evaluate and decide if he's a long-term fit. The question becomes, what would it cost to bring him in? That's where the decision gets tricky. Woolen isn't without his concerns. His games played have gone down every year since his rookie season. But his skill set, the way he breaks on the ball, his size, that's hard to teach. And he's still young enough to grow. Add that kind of talent to a secondary that's already shown flashes, and you're building something real. The timing also lines up. If Stevenson misses time and Johnson's future is still uncertain, having another capable corner could stabilize things quickly. Now, there's a big divide among Bears fans when it comes to this trade deadline. Some want bold moves. Others want to hold firm, keep the picks, and build slow. The reality is, both approaches have merit. If Ryan Poles believes this team is turning the corner, that a playoff push is truly within reach, then it might be time to act. But if the plan is still rooted in long-term development, holding those assets could be the wiser choice. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, wide receiver Davante Smith has reportedly declined a contract extension with his current team, fueling speculation about a blockbuster shift in the league's landscape. Sources close to the situation suggest that Smith, the dynamic playmaker known for his speed, precision routes, and clutch performances, has set his sights on a fresh challenge, and whispers are pointing to none other than the Chicago Bears. The news has sparked a flurry of conversations across sports media and social platforms. While Smith has not publicly confirmed his next destination, insiders claim the Bears have emerged as the frontrunners in a potential signing that could redefine their offensive strategy. For Chicago, a franchise hungry for explosive playmakers and eager to make waves in a competitive NFC North, landing a receiver of Smith's caliber would be nothing short of transformative. Analysts are already speculating how his presence could mesh with the Bears' quarterback and reshape their passing game, potentially elevating the team to serious playoff contention. Fans have taken to social media in droves, dissecting highlights from Smith's career, debating fit, and imagining how his signature agility and route-running acumen would complement the Bears' offensive scheme. The mere rumor of Smith's preference for Chicago has reignited long-dormant excitement among the Bears' faithful, who have been craving marquee talent to inject energy and legitimacy into the roster. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly monitoring the situation closely, weighing whether to counteroffer and retain the star receiver. The uncertainty surrounding Smith's decision has added an element of suspense to the offseason, creating an atmosphere ripe with speculation and debate. While nothing is officially confirmed, the notion of Davante Smith in a Bears uniform is already captivating the imagination of fans and pundits alike, setting the stage for what could be one of the most talked-about player moves in recent memory. As the NFL world watches intently, the story continues to unfold, leaving one burning question. Will Davante Smith truly bring his electrifying talent to Chicago? Or is this just the latest twist in a saga full of drama and anticipation? That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.